This is Ira, and welcome to Ocean Liners on Print, where we time travel through ocean liner history via my collection of ocean liner memorabilia and additional research. We are going to examine the Andrea Doria, the pride of the Italian line, during its glory days as well as during its collision with the Stockholm. Later in the video, I will share a personal story about the Andrea Doria. Before we go forward, I want to acknowledge everyone who died as a result of the collision and the wreck. Of the 51 people who perished during the collision, 46 were from the Andrea Doria and 5 were from the Stockholm. As the Andrea Doria is lying in 250 feet of water, it is within reach of advanced divers. As a result, at least 15 divers to date have perished exploring the wreck. Let's get into Ocean Liners on Print mode.
Let's check out some views of the Andrea Doria. Not because of its historic collision, but by design. The Andrea Doria and its later sister, the Cristoforo Colombo. These sister ships, in my opinion, are the most beautiful single stackers of all time. If you beg to differ, please put your favorite single stacker in the comment section below. Here is the first class hall, the first class ballroom, and the first class dining room, all on board the Andrea Doria. Let's start our journey on the Andrea Doria. So let's place our baggage tags on our luggage and head to the west side of Manhattan to board the Andrea Doria. We're going to explore this brochure from December 1952 titled, quote, "To the Mediterranean and all Europe, 1953 sailings," close quote. This brochure is about the Vulcania, the Saturnia, and introducing the brand new Andrea Doria. Quote, "The new 30,000-ton liner SS Andrea Doria joins the Italian line regular service in January 1953, making her maiden voyage from Genoa to New York via Cannes, Naples, and Gibraltar. The new ship will accommodate 1,200 passengers in 3 classes," close quote. It was still common in the 1950s for passenger ships to have as many as 4 classes. Quote, "The Andrea Doria is completely air-conditioned, staffed by experienced personnel, manned by expert seamen," close quote. Starting after the conclusion of World War II, most newly constructed ocean liners and cruise ships were completely air-conditioned. A number of pre-war ships, when refurbished after the war, were fitted with air conditioning. Quote, "The interiors of the ship embody the finest expression of Italian artistry and craftsmanship," close quote. The furnishings of the Andrea Doria define sophisticated mid-century modern. Quote, "Art also goes into the cuisine. For master chefs prepare delicious dishes to the eye as well as to the palate," close quote. The Italian line brought top cuisine to the high seas. Each stateroom in first and cabin class has its private bathroom. Hot and cold running water fixtures are provided in tourist staterooms," close quote. It wasn't until the 1960s that one started to see ships with all cabins having private toilets and showers. Hot and cold running water fixtures in tourist staterooms refer to these cabins only having sinks. Quote, "The Andrea Doria has 3 outdoor swimming pools, 1 for each class. The only ship in regular New York to Mediterranean service which provides this special attraction," close quote. Throughout the era, the existence of ships with multiple classes, not all classes had access to outdoor swimming pools. Many ships in the 1950s, in fact, lack outdoor pools. So, when it comes to outdoor pools, the Andrea Doria earned bragging rights. Quote, broad lido decks surround each pool. Sunbathing and deck sports are especially delightful along the sunny southern route. Close quote. This statement contains elements of several taglines used by the Italian lines in the 1930s, references to the lido deck and to the sunny southern route. Quote, the new liner also has specialty shops, hairdressing and barber shops, a garage, and 4 cinemas, including an open-air movie, close quote. Having an open-air cinema in 1953 was 60 years ahead of its time. I remember being on the Caribbean Princess of the Princess Line and watching movies under the stars with a Jumbotron screen on deck. Quote, a dignified chapel is available to all classes. On the next page, quote, ships will sail and dock at Pier 84, North River, hood of West 44th Street, Manhattan, close quote. Page 3, servants, quote, servants traveling in first class pay the rate of accommodations actually occupied less 20% of the minimum rate when accompanying their employers, close quote. The assumption is that only passengers with servants would be in first class. Next part. This is fun. Rates for domestic animals, birds, bicycles, etc. Dogs, $50. Cats, $10. Birds, 1 or 2 in a cage, $5. Birds, more than 2 in a cage, $10. Bicycles, $10. Perambulators, $10. Pianos, $80. Motorcycles, $60. Sidecars, $20. Motorcycle with sidecar, $80. That's a good math exercise. Motorcycle at 60 plus sidecar 20 equals $80. Two-wheel powered vehicles, 200 pounds or over, $60. If they're less than 200 pounds, $30. Bicycles with light auxiliary motors weighing less than 90 pounds, $15. As far as moving a piano is concerned, this means that if you have a spinet or a concert grand, you pay the same price. A concert grand is several times the weight and space taken of a spinet. Also, a motorcycle at $60 requires a fraction of the manpower to handle versus a piano. The slight difference in cost doesn't make sense. Quote, the Saturnia, Vulcania, and Andrea Doria are equipped with kennels for 12 dogs. Passengers with dogs or cats must be in possession of both a veterinarian certificate of good health and a rabies inoculation certificate, close quote. Today, the Queen Mary 2 has a kennel. I am not aware of any other ships with a kennel still in existence. Page 4. Baggage. Quote, for each full paying passenger, 25 cubic feet of trunk space is allowed in the hold. Close quote. What is placed in the hold is what passengers will not be able to access until they disembark at their final destination. Back in the day, a significant amount of passengers on the transatlantic run were immigrants on their way to a new chapter in life, or people taking the ship to get to the start of their vacation. So, these two types of passengers would take belongings with them that they would not need during the voyage. These belongings would take up too much room in one stateroom. Thus, these items would be placed in the hold. Valuables. Quote, money and valuables should be deposited with the purser for safekeeping. A limited number of private safe deposit boxes are available free of charge, close quote. They did not have individual room safes then. That was the standard for the day. Rates for unboxed automobiles. Up to 4,500 pounds, $475 round trip. That's a $1952. One could buy a new car back then for under $2,000. Why not just rent a car? So now we have an ad depicting the first-class swimming pool on the Andrea Doria with the slogan, quote, "Beauty sails the sunny southern route," close quote. The lovely Andrea Doria is so lavishly decorated that she's been called, quote, "a floating guide to art," close quote. Italian line service to and from New York and the Mediterranean across the Atlantic several hundred miles south of the traditional transatlantic sea lanes, resulting in calmer and warmer crossings. Here are some menus from 1956. Let's start with this Easter Gala get-together menu from the cabin class of the Andrea Doria, April 1st, 1956. Take a look in the middle of the menu between the Italian and English sections. And this is where my personal story about the Andrea Doria begins. So it says here, the captain's name is Piero Calamai. So when I was a pharmaceutical rep working in the Bronx in the 1990s, the Bronx is the northernmost borough of New York City. One of the doctors I called on was originally from Italy. We got into a conversation about ocean liners, and he told me that he came to America on the Italian liner Augustus in 1960. He also told me that during World War II, he served as a physician on a submarine in the Italian Navy. The submarine's captain was Marco Calamai. The doctor informed me that Marco Calamai's brother was the captain of the Andrea Doria. The following month, when I visited this doctor's office, I had a collection of Italian line memorabilia with me. I showed him this menu with Marco Calamai's brother Piero as the captain of the Andrea Doria. He got emotional and discussed how many Italians, including himself, were upset that the loss of the Andrea Doria resulted in Italy's spending spree on ocean liners like the Leonardo da Vinci, the Michelangelo, and the Raffaello. Such spending pulled resources from much-needed infrastructure projects that would impact the daily lives of most citizens who never had a chance to partake of one of these ships, not to mention even seeing one of them. Anyway, let's get back to the food selections here. Canapé of caviar, langoustine and Bellevue, mignon fillets in Madeira wine, loin of veal flour girl, capon galantine, ox tongue and jelly, baby lamb on the skewer. Another menu, this one here is from April 3rd, offers calf's brain, mutton cutlet with potato chips. Here is the Stockholm post-collision. The following views document the final hours of the Andrea Doria. In 2006, I took a New England cruise on the grandeur of the seas. The ship anchored off the shore of Bar Harbor, Maine, in extreme fog. When we took the tender back from Bar Harbor to the ship, the fog was so thick we couldn't see the ship until we were about 10 feet away from it. I couldn't stop thinking about the fog during the Andrea Doria collision.
I hope you enjoyed the video. What did you find most interesting? Was it having 3 outdoor pools, 1 for each class, the broad Lido decks, beauty sails the sunny southern route, open-air movies, shipping your piano for $80, kennels, shipping your car, the Andrea Doria dubbed as a floating guide to art, langoustine and Bellevue, mignon fillets in Madeira wine, loin of veal flour girl. What's a flour girl? I don't know. Baby lamb on skewer, ox tongue and jelly, calf's brain, mutton cutlet. I'm ready to eat. Anyway, please put your comments below. To receive alerts for new engaging ocean liner content, hit the subscribe button. Thank you from Ocean Liners on Print.